Hi, welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel. Today I'm going to do a flip through and review of the Mothership sci-fi horror RPG Warden's Operation Manual by Tuesday Night Games. This is the second of the Mothership sci-fi horror RPG flip through and reviews. I have run this game a number of times and played in Mothership a number of times. So just to set expectations for what this is, I do flip through reviews of games that I have played or played in on this channel. If you like these types of videos, if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribing if you are interested in seeing more, and hit the bell icon if you wish to be notified when they come out. Or you can check back here every Tuesday where I release new flip through and review content. Let's dive in to the Warden's Operation Manual. So, again, this was created by Sean McCoy and edited by Jarrett Crater. There is an amazing cast of credits here that I'm not going to elucidate, mostly because I think I botched the names pretty bad last time, but some pretty amazing names down here. So I would encourage you, if you own this book, to flip through and take a look and go follow some of these people. They're all amazing in their own right. On the inside cover, as with the player's guide, we get some extremely useful information. So on the inside cover here, you've got the tombs, horrors kind of table for quickly generating horrors for your table. If you want to have something, actually, we should just roll one up here, but let's just assume that I rolled a 60. So the transgression is a forgotten atrocity. The omens is dead animals. A manifestation is a cybernetic organism. Banishment is making a pact with it, and slumber it uploads into the nearest computer. So you would roll that, and then it would be kind of the ingredients for a soup you would create on your own to terrify your players, which is what we're here for. It's got a nice themes table for generating some themes for an adventure. So this is great for a DM a warden trying to set up an adventure for their friends. Preparing your first session. Again, similar to the player's survival guide, they dive right into a very structured and organized set of steps for doing the task you are intended to do with this book. So preparing for an adventure, creating adventure content, or session content, I guess I should say, is laid out in a step-by-step process, 10 steps, with step 3 being reading the rule book. So the step 1 is to get organized. Step 2 is to invite your friends to play. So immediately recognizing that the hardest part is getting people to show up. So you do this. Once you've got this, then you read the rule books, choose a starting scenario, find the horror, something to survive, something to solve, something to save, map it out, final details. Very straightforward. Choosing a starting scenario, they've got a really great list of options here for what you can be getting into for your first kind of delve. And it just talks about how to keep things really simple and what you should expect in terms of playtime, which I think is great. And then, it talks about the tombs cycle. So Act 1 is the transgression, Act 2 is omens, Act 3 is the manifestation, Act 4 is banishment, and Act 5 is slumber. And so most adventures you kind of want to follow this act cycle, 5-act cycle. And I think it's well articulated here, and the art is amazing. Then it talks about something to survive. So environmental hazards, psychological trauma, violent encounters. These are the things that your player characters are going to want to or need to survive. These are some good tactical considerations, just kind of laid out in a really cool way. Something to solve. So this is about the mystery of the horror that you're interacting with. And yeah, it gives you a really clear instruction for how to design a puzzle or solvable mystery for what's going on. And if the players can understand that, like if they can figure out what's going on, that is a win condition in this game, even if they don't survive. So we're thinking about creating compelling answers. This, I think, is really, really good advice. Just because, like, I think it can be very difficult for a warden or a GM in any game to come up with kind of compelling but believable things that are going on. And evidence and clues tend to be the missing component. So I'm glad that they tackle it here. Then it talks about planning for failure. It's all just the game. So there's no such thing as off course, which I just love. Like, it's things are going to go wrong in the game. That is by design, and you should dive. Enjoy heading into that. It's kind of it's fun to lose kind of game. And then finally we go into someone to save. So saving someone or saving other people is the other kind of pillar of success in Mothership. And so this talks about how to construct NPCs that are useful or less useful, but like useful to the narrative, allies and enemies. And then it talks about doing a map, so mapping and writing a key. So fantastic locations, I think, is what we call it in the fantasy space. In this space, it's really nice because you're going to be making a lot of spaces that are, well, they're sci-fi in origin, right? So it can be the interior of I think the most common, right, is probably the interior of a spaceship of some stripe that is, adrift. That's amazing. But it can be anything. It can be a weird ancient alien temple on a strange alien planet. It can be the inside of a Dyson sphere's, wall structures. It could be the inside of a computer system, if you're in the slick world, like in Pound of Flesh. So there's a lot you can do. And I think this style of structure, where it's just, this is the flowchart of the locations and kind of what's going on, is a good way to approach it. And then tying it all together. So this is how to kind of stitch all the different components that it's just outlined together into a cohesive session. And then it talks about running your first session, which is awesome. This just gives you, again, that kind of step-by-step, you're going to show them how the dice work. You're going to teach them how stress mechanics work. You will explain the rest as it comes up, because everything else is just going to have to be dealt with when it comes up. Also, I think amazing advice here. Don't worry about the rules. You'll learn. Help maintain a safe playing environment. Again, safe play environment. Super cool. Think of the game world as a real place, not as a video game. Unless your real place is a video game. That's a fair option. But, like, you get the point. Like, try and be there. Use common sense. See if you can make it more common. Build up the horror slowly. Great advice. So, talks about safety instructions. This is kind of explicitly about how safety is a critical part of hospitality. And when you are a warden, you are hosting an entertainment event for people, and you want them to be safe. And that's just how that works. So making accommodations to ensure their safety is worth doing, and is the right thing to do. And then it talks about warden etiquette. So these are things you can do to build trust with your players, so that you're establishing a positive feedback loop of fun with the people you're playing with. In a horror game, I would say that this is so critical, because if it begins to feel adversarial, it can really spiral pretty badly. So yeah, do this. Solve disputes as people, not characters. So if you're having problems, if there's, things arise, talk about them as the people at the table, not the characters in the game. Which is great. And then great advice for running games for strangers, because not enough RPGs do that. And then it talks about how the game works. So, again, extremely concise. Like, these are the steps. I saw a similar thing recently in Mythic Bastion Land, but these are actually the steps for how RPGs work, which is nice. It's actually, laid out so simply. Taking good notes. I think we could all benefit from more exercise taking good notes, especially as wardens or GMs. So it's nice to have a good bit of guidance there. In describing the situation, it talks about how to use timing and tension to kind of, deliver a good, fun moment in the game. Answering player questions. What about technology? Again, just some kind of more specific advice about this game. And then we've got setting the stakes, player agency and decision making, resolving the actions. So this is when not to roll dice, when to roll dice. I think in the player's game I went over this, but like you should only be really rolling when there are risks, massive risks and consequences, and when the players are doing something under duress. How to interpret failure. So failure does not always mean like actually not succeeding. In many cases in Mothership, it means you did the thing you were trying to do, but other things have become worse, or the thing you tried to do or succeeded in doing has also made things worse. So that's really cool. Talks about making up house rules, making good rulings, which is a critical part of the OSR style of play. Social encounters, violent encounters, how to run investigations, ships and space, amazing art. And then it talks about building a campaign. So campaigns, I'm not going to go too into this, but it's got some really great frames for doing campaigns, how to set up a system for exploration, how to create factions, the company, so economic horror is kind of part of the game, how much should a job pay, job boards for getting information to your players about what they can be doing, campaign economics and getting rich. I haven't seen these come up too often, but they happen. And then how to customize your campaign and maintain your campaign, and then mixing it up. So you can do a bunch of different horror subgenres, and got a nice list of recommended media, telling a good story, and how the whole thing can be wrapped up. So how to end a campaign, which is great. And then a great planets and factions and settlement generator, and the terms of use. So, yeah, I know that was a bit quick. There's not the same kind of level, I think, of need to go into it. I think the structure of this tells a lot about what intention has gone into it. But this is, I think most people would agree, one of the best. At 60 pages, it's one of the best versions of a game master's guide. Again, a Warden's manual in this case, but really chock full of amazing advice, amazing information layout, and all in a zine. 60 pages. It slaps. All right. Thanks again for watching. I'm Gabriel, and yeah, I hope you will join us over on my Patreon, where you can get early access to these videos. So go to patreon.com/watcherdm. Or you can go to watcherdm.com to pick up any of our adventures, including a Mothership pamphlet that we made. You can go get it on Tuesday Night Games if you want the printed pamphlet, or you can pick it up on itch.io if you want the free download version. And it's how to do generation ships for Mothership, so it's just like a little generation ship generator. But yeah, thanks so much for playing, and I will see you in the next one.